Okay, so as you know, we've been talking about reptiles all last week and probably the week before that, and we've been making comparisons to what animals? In regards to reptiles, then we make comparisons to which animals?
Lizards.
Those are reptiles, though?
Amphibians.
The amphibians, okay? So we've been talking about on the outside. We've also talked about on the inside. What is the internal anatomy and physiology that's different from that of the amphibians?
Three-chambered heart.
Which one has a three-chambered heart?
Amphibians.
You're right, that's the amphibians, that's right. What else on the inside?
Efficient circulatory system.
Okay, so reptiles have, you could say, a more efficient circulatory system because their blood pressure is higher. Okay, and they also have a four-chambered heart. What about respiration then?
It's
Who's got better developed lungs for land dwelling? Yeah, the reptiles do. Okay, and part of that could be tied with their skin because it's more dry and scaly. Okay, then on the outside, again, scaly skin, teeth, claws, those are reptilian, unlike that of the amphibians. Okay, and then this is where we had left off with last week, and as we can see on our schedule, it says Serpentae on the board. Serpents are snakes because the order Sauria then is that of the lizards. Moving on to the serpents. And you could say that these animals are legless lizards, okay? So what happened is these animals became entirely limbless. We know that we don't see those on snakes. The reason for that is lizards came first, okay? Because when animals moved on to land, that was the amphibians, then changed to that of the reptiles. Then there was a new, let's say, niche, if you want to call it that, that was available for these animals to exploit and become limbless. And the reason we say and place or describe it that way, food is normally a very powerful, let's say, driving force for evolution. So when, I don't know if you want to say their food source or probably small mammals, it would be easier to obtain this type of a food source if you didn't have these limbs that could get in the way. And that's why we say food can be a driving force for evolution. So when we picture these animals moving, okay, depending upon their length, because of the way they move, that is why these structures, okay, these are vertebrates that have to be shorter, okay. Now we're talking about that of the ribs now. Those are shorter, okay, vertebrae and ribs, shorter and wider than those of the lizards, their predecessors. And because of that, it's their movement when they are doing what we call undulations, which is movements of side to side. When these animals are undulating. So think of this, so this wider aspect of the ribs. what might be some functions of bones besides protection? They store minerals. Now this is in a human sense, okay? You have our cranial cavity, okay, our skull. They store minerals, but they also provide movement. So what is attaching to a skeletal system to provide movement? Well, how do we move? So the muscles are attaching to bones, and in this case, if it is wider, that is a greater surface area then for these muscles to attach to. That's another aspect that nature selected these animals to have that take place. I think I need to just a moment here. Okay, so then moving forward. So this is what we're talking about, undulating. These undulations are these quick side to side movements.
So it's like a snake.
That's exactly, yeah, we're talking about snakes. That's right.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, I wonder where that puts us. Feeding. Okay. So then, if these animals, they can't see very well. So if that's the case, I think when people lose, unfortunately, if they lose their sight, well, then their other senses are going to become heightened from that. There's more, I would presume, you could say more brain power devoted to those senses, whether it is hearing or whether it is smelling, but then that would certainly be the case. So then where is this chemical signal? Where is this determined at in the brain?
And
For humans, it's an olfactory organ, but humans and mammals don't have the same structure that the reptiles do. Well, they do have nostrils, but it's not for smelling that what we might think. Well, it is scent, but how is that determined in the brain? It's a special type of organ. And again, it's not an olfactory organ like mammals and humans. Okay? So then we see this, it's a specialized olfactory chamber in majority of reptiles, that being the lizards and the snakes. Okay? So this takes the place of that olfactory bulb that we were just referring to. Okay? So for the rest of the time, okay, for this material, rest we're going to be watching something off of Discovery Kids, but with that, we can't put this on the channel, so we'll pick up with this content tomorrow, so we'll catch up to you next time.